What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel and happy Friday. I hope you all had a great week, and I'm sure you are looking forward to the weekend as much as I am, and I hope you all have a good one and lots of fun plans for this weekend. As for our build for the day, we are doing something very different than I've done on the channel, and honestly, I've never done this in general. Even like before I started a YouTube channel, I've never built here in Sylvan Glade. I've always wanted to, and I just never really got the chance. I never really found the right thing to build here. Every time I come, I start, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know, and I give up. But with the brand new expansion pack coming in just a few short weeks, I figured, this is the perfect time to build here in Sylvan Glade. I feel like this would be like a fairy's fairy tale. Like, this is their dream home for sure. I don't know a whole lot about fairies, so keep that in mind through this build. This is me building what I thought a fairy would like to live in. And so yeah, with that being said, it might not be, accurate, but that's okay. It looks like a fairy house to me, and obviously it's in a tree. If you haven't figured that out yet, then I don't know what to tell you, but yes, we are building a fairy house in a tree. But before I get any deeper into talking about today's build, I would like to take a second to invite you guys to leave a like on this video if you do find it enjoyable, and maybe you're looking forward to all of my fairy builds when the new expansion pack does come out. And also subscribe if you have not already so you don't miss those videos. I am going to be posting so many when the new pack comes out because I'm super excited. I'm really not a huge occult player in general, especially fairies, but I am more excited than I thought I was going to be honest. It's more than just fairies, and it's like this whole nature enchantment vibe. I don't know too much about it yet. I haven't seen like really any gameplay trailers yet, and well, nobody has, but I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm super happy for all of you guys that have been dying for fairies to come out in The Sims. This is finally your time, and I'm sure you guys are so excited. But yeah, so with all of that being said, let's get back into today's build. For those of you that may not know much about Sylvan Glade, I am going to do a little bit of a rundown of what exactly it is, because you're probably like, what is this? This must be part of a pack that I don't own. It actually is not. It's actually base game, and it's right in Willow Creek. At least the entrance point is in Willow Creek. So if you go to Willow Creek and you get one of the starter homes in like this smaller, more affordable neighborhood, there is this big colorful oak tree thing. I don't know if it's an oak tree, might be a willow tree. I don't know what it is, but it does have like colorful like mushrooms and vines and stuff growing on it. And it's really not hard to miss. It looks exactly like that tree that's over on the left side of the treehouse. There is a tree that looks like that in Willow Creek, and something else that's different about it than normal trees, you can actually click on it and you can just, at first, I think you just view it, and then you can talk to it, I think, or water it. You for sure water it and kind of like do a bunch of different things. You just keep clicking on it and doing the interactions, and eventually a little bit of like a hole will pop up into the tree, and your sim will enter the hole in the trunk of the tree, and then they go through different like pathways. Well, it's a rabbit hole. But they'll ask you different questions like, do you want your sim to go towards the light? Do you want them to go towards, up the river or down the river? Just different things like that, and you just do what you think you should answer it as. Of course, if you answer them wrong, you just pop right back out of that tree. But if you answer them all correctly, then you will reach a point where it asks if you would like to travel to Sylvan Glade, and you say yes, and this is Sylvan Glade. Now, I haven't actually really played in Sylvan Glade, so I'm not really sure what it has to offer. I do have Google up though, my handy dandy best friend Google. You might have heard of him, I'm not sure, but he's super smart, trust me, he knows everything. So let's see what he says. So I'm going to be one of those people, and I am just going to read you what it says on the AI overview on Google. It's simple, I know. Like, I know anybody could do this, but that's fine. I'm saving you guys the trouble and I'm doing it for you. So it says, Sylvan Glade is a hidden secret area in the Sims 4 base game, specifically in the Willow Creek neighborhood. Well, we did establish that already. It's a picturesque fairy tale-like forest with a serene lake, a waterfall, and unique pink trees. Yeah, it is really pretty here, guys. Sims can access it through a special sylvan tree located in the Foundry Cove area. Okay, so it's literally a special type of tree called the Sylvan tree. And I think that's a made-up tree. I don't think that's a real tree. I could be wrong, but it don't sound real, to be honest. It says, oh, well, we already know how to access Sylvan Glade. Oh, here it is. Here's what you can do in Sylvan Glade. You can fish at the ponds, and you can get rare fish like the tree fish. There's a bunch of foraging you can do. You can find various plants and herbs, including cherries and pear trees, snapdragons, lilies, blueberries. Wait, no, not blueberries. Bluebells, strawberries, mushrooms, and basil. And you can explore. The area is visually stunning and provides a unique experience within the game. So, in other words, there's not much you can do here. It's really just a basic, just what you'll find in the neighborhood. You can fish in the neighborhood, you can forage in the neighborhood. It's really just the environment, I think, is what draws people because of how pretty it really is. Oh, and one other thing to note, when you first come to Sylvan Glade, it's just going to have like a pond, and it's placed on this lot that I'm building on now, but at first glance, it's not going to let you build on the lot. You actually have to put in a cheat code, and I mean, if you're not sure about how to like do cheat codes, I guess I'll just let you know. So you just press Control-Shift-C and it brings up the command bar, and you can enter in countless number of cheats, like literally an infinite number of cheats this game has. But I'm not going to go over all the cheats. That's just going to take too long. If you're interested and you don't know anything about cheats, definitely look it up. There's so many like tutorials and blogs and stuff like that that you can look at to learn how to put cheats in, and also what cheats do what, if that makes sense. So after, I will tell you how to build on this lot though. That's one cheat I will tell you about. So this goes for really any locked lot that won't let you normally build, but you can tell that there's like an actual lot there, and the creators of the game actually place certain objects on there. One other lot that's like this that's coming to my mind, if you have the Snowy Escape Pack, when you reach the top of the mountain, that little snowy area, I'm pretty sure that is a locked lot, but you are able to enter this cheat in and actually build on it. There's several lots like this in the game. That's just the only other one that comes to mind at the moment. But anyways, the cheat code that you use, and I'll put it up on the screen too, just so you can have it to read too. You do bb.enable free build. So that is what you enter in, and then press enter, and then it should let you build on the lot. If not, you might have to enter in bb.testing cheats. I don't do this cheat very often just because I have MC Command Center and I have UI Cheats extension. One of those mods, it just always has bb.testing cheats on, you know? But I'm pretty sure it's bb.testing cheats space on. Okay, well, I looked it up, so I have a correction. It's literally just testing cheats space true, and then you enter. You don't need the bb.testing cheats, it's just testing cheats true. See, that's how little I put that cheat code in. Literally the only time I put that cheat code in is if one of my mods is not working. So not often at all. Alright, well, now that we've discussed a little bit about what Sylvan Glade is, let's go ahead and get back into our fairy treehouse build. So I have the exterior like done. I do a lot more vines climbing up the walls and a lot of stuff like that on the outside. I'm just focusing on the inside a little bit. I do have to say I did playtest. As I was playtesting, I realized that plant right there in front of the stove is in the way, and I do move that plant, but the trash can does stay. So that's just a little bit of a note. I love that plant there though. I thought it was so stinking cute. I could have moved it somewhere else, but this is such a tight fit, and I was done at that point, so I deleted it and called it a day. Everything else worked fantastically though. So this kitchen is very colorful. I tried to keep a colorful vibe. I tried to stick with like blues and pinks for sure, add some purple and green in there as well. I kind of just tried to stay with those colors. I feel like they just remind me of fairies, to be honest, especially those fairy lights right there that have like the flowers. Those are from kids room stuff or Parenthood. I think kids room stuff though, and I absolutely love those string lights / fairy lights. I think those would be considered string lights though. I love those things. I use them all the time and I'm still not tired of them. I use them mainly in like my kids' room, but since this is a fairies treehouse, I thought it was the perfect chance to use them now. And I love using them in windows like this, particularly that window right there behind the sink. How cute is that window? That window is from Cottage Living. All the windows are. The Cottage Living pack came very useful in this build. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I really love that like bay window right there in front or behind the sink. I think it's so cute. And as soon as I put it, I knew right away that I was gonna put some candles in there. And then I put the string lights on top, and I think it just turned out so cute. I wish that I maybe would have done a different plant, but I do think that plant that I put, I think that's from the Comfy Gamer kit. I think it is super cute there and actually matches really, really well. And I did make the executive decision just to put a mini fridge in there. I felt like this is a fairy, and I feel like fairies are so dainty. Like, they probably don't eat much at all. I don't know if they're even gonna have to eat anything when this new pack comes out. I'm not sure what their needs are gonna be, but I feel like they would be like vegetarian for sure, and like they would eat like a lot of like salad and stuff. And so she probably just like grows her own food in her garden below, and then she just eats what she grows. And so I ended up just putting the mini fridge in there. I could have done the tall fridge. I almost did the one out of the kitchen clutter kit just because of all of the stickers on the outside, but it looked kind of weird. The kitchen is so small that a big fridge took up so much space, and I also wanted to add a microwave. She might want to microwave her carrots, I don't know. So I really wanted to add a microwave, and the only way I could do that is by adding a mini fridge so that I could put it on top of the mini fridge. Plus, that mini fridge that I used was like perfect because it had like cute little like pink stickers on it, and that mini fridge is from Discovery University, and that's like my favorite swatch from that fridge too. And as for the actual microwave and the oven, both of those is from the newer kit, the Restoration Workshop kit. I felt like that style was like perfect, and fairies, I feel like they would take old stuff that they could find in like a dumpster or just thrown away on the side of someone's house, and they would repurpose it. Like, I feel like they do a lot of DIY sort of stuff, and so I thought using those two appliances would be perfect for a fairy. Plus, they're cute and they're pink too, so a bunch of different reasons as to why I use those. And then I put a couple rugs on the bottom, so you will notice in this build that there's a lot going on. Like, there's a lot of like different clutter pieces and stuff, and I feel like that's such a fairy thing to do. Like, they just are collectors, I would feel like. And as far as the bathroom goes, really nothing special with the bathroom, to be honest. I just did a basic like standalone shower without any walls or anything because it's such a small area that I felt like having the shower with the walls would take up too much space. And then I have the toilet in the sink, and I put like cute pink curtains in there. At first I put like a cute pink and purple zebra print rug, but with the shower being standalone without the walls, I feel like it doesn't make any sense to put a rug in there. I know this is The Sims and it doesn't actually get wet, but I can't stand the fact of like in real life it would get wet and soaked and nasty, and so I just felt like it made more sense not to have a rug in there, even though the rug was cute, don't get me wrong. But yeah, and then I put a mirror above the sink. I think it's from Kids Room Stuff, but it has a couple of pink like cherry blossom looking stickers on there, and I thought that was perfect. Anything that's cutesy is perfect for this fairy. This fairy loves all things cute. And on the subject of cute, how stinking cute are these lollipops right here? I knew they existed because of the newer expansion pack that came out, Businesses and Hobbies, but I never actually took a second to look at the lollipops, and I happened to come across them in the debug catalog, and I thought they were so cute, I could not resist but to put them in this build. And I picked the plum bob one for obvious reasons, and then the rainbow one just because it was super cute. And I feel like candy is something else that a fairy would absolutely love. So they're vegetarian, yeah, you know, they like their vegetables and their fruits, but they love candy too. So I thought it just made sense. But we did happen to get the living room all done, and I think the living room turned out super cute. I do add some more vines behind the tree. I like the thought of the vines creeping inside and growing inside as well. I feel like that's like, it makes sense for a fairy. I think a fairy would really like that too. Hence why she has vines as curtains on certain windows. And yeah, like I was saying, the living room turned out super, super cute. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's not much to really say about it. But I did choose the furniture from high school years because they are just super cute. Okay, that's the main reason. But also, there's only like a love seat plus chairs for that particular style. And so it's such a small area that love seat and the 2 chairs that I chose was like perfect. And I really wanted to make it feel like cluttered. I almost had the love seat plus 1 chair, the like egg-shaped chair that has like the fairy lights around it. I almost just chose those 2, but then it wasn't cluttered enough, you know? So I decided to go ahead and add a 3rd chair, but like a different style other than the egg chair. And I love the different like mismatch look like that. I chose different swatches for all of them. And so they're mismatched, but yet they match at the same time. I chose the colors that, you know, the main love seat has a couple different like colors in the swatch that I chose, and then for the egg chair and the other chair I chose colors that match that swatch. So it's not exactly the same, yet it matches. And then of course I added like a fuzzy rug underneath, and then I added like 2 coffee tables. I sized one down, and I used the books with like the book holder, a book statue, whatever those things are called. And I used the one from Lovestruck, and it's shaped like a heart. I thought that was absolutely perfect. And I mean, that's basically it for the living room. I do go back and I do add some decorations above the TV. I just had to take a break from it because I did not know whatsoever what decoration I wanted to put above the TV. But I knew I wanted to do something. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should have added like a PlayStation in there, and I didn't. But if that's something that you guys want to add, you could totally add it. I just add it in like literally all of my builds, so I can't believe I didn't think to add it here. But our little fairy does have a computer, and fairies are just like any other sim, and they have to have a job too. So I figured this fairy worked from home as a streamer. That's like the best I could come up with, to be honest. And then she makes extra money with the flowers that she grows down in her garden below, and she also does some flower arranging, and she sells those flower arrangements. So yeah, she has a couple of different things going on to make money. And another good idea if you do have businesses and hobbies is to get your fairy like a candy making machine, since she does like candy so much. It'd probably be super cute for your fairy to like make candy and sell the candy. But yeah, so we are over into the bedroom now, and I pretty much have it exactly how I want it. This isn't You know, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed with how I did the bedroom. I don't love it, but it's kind of what I figured out. I did put an easel in here too, so I guess that's another way she could make money. This is gonna be a rich fairy, you know. She has a lot of different gigs and side gigs going on here, but with that being said, with me not, you know, loving the way this bedroom turned out, it's really not bad either. I feel like it's starting to come together now that I added like the rug and I added the string lights on the vines that I have on the wall behind the bed. It is pretty cute. I just tried my hardest to make it look like a fairy's house. What I would imagine a fairy's tree house to look like is what I tried to do. I feel like that area right there under those 3 windows is super blank, but I never could figure out what to put there. But yeah, I mean, I have the bed and then I have the easel like I was saying, and I have like a little like ladder right next to the easel, and that has a bunch of different decorations on there. I really just try to make it look cute and cluttered. That's really the vibe I'm going for. That's the end goal, to be honest. Oh, and I also ended up putting those vines that I was talking about earlier. I have the ones from high school years that's like growing up the trellis, and we have the ladder from high school years that is like trellis form, and sometimes when I place it, it has a vine on it. Sometimes I place it and it doesn't have a vine, so I don't understand the whole vine thing. I think it's like halfway buggy. I think it's supposed to have a vine if it's outside. And you know, since I have the holes in the ground in the building, it thinks the whole building's outside, but that's not a problem, you know. This lot has good enough lighting to where I really didn't even have to put any lights inside at all, to be honest. I think I just put some like decorative lights and that's it. I didn't put any ceiling lights. Besides in the bathroom, no, I didn't do any ceiling lights in the bathroom either. So yeah, this whole lot has like no lighting, but yet you can still see perfectly in it. Like, it's pretty interesting. And actually the bedroom seemed pretty bright, to be honest. I was actually really surprised. But like I was saying, I put the trellises inside. I also put them outside too, and I love the way that the vines are growing up it. It just looks so overgrown and pretty, and it looks like this treehouse has been here for like ever. We are actually done with the inside, like completely, I believe. We may or may not go back in and do some last minute stuff, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty done on the inside. I do decorate the balcony on the outside of the front door. I do that kind of last because I was indecisive on exactly what I wanted to do there. At the moment, I have a telescope, but I do end up deleting that. I feel like a fairy would have no interest in looking at outer space. But of course, you could add that if you do miss it. Right now, I am finishing up the vines and the trellises, and I have some of these pink flowered vines, and I'm just placing them randomly throughout the other green vines, and just adding some more color to brighten it up a little bit. I do, at the last, very, very last minute, I do end up putting a wreath on the door, and I end up choosing the one from Cottage Living that has like blueberries on it. I didn't think I liked that wreath. I've never been able to use it, and it actually makes sense and look cute. But when I placed it, it was so adorable, and it matched perfectly because I have the blue accents in like the rug and the outer lights that I put on by the front doors. I made those blue. It might not look blue because of the lighting, but they are blue, and it matches so perfectly with the blueberry wreath. It was so cute, and I was happy that I ended up remembering about that one and placing it because it made everything like come together. And I just can imagine the fairy building that wreath herself, making it, crafting it herself. She grew the blueberries, she dried the blueberries, and like she was able to actually, I don't know, she did something to where she could make them last. She preserved them somehow, and she got some twigs from her garden and some of the green vines and the blueberries with a little bow, and she just made it herself. That's just super cute to me. And then as far as the balcony goes, honestly, I kept it simple. I just put a couple rocking chairs out there from Nifty Knitting, and it is very simple, but it ended up being super cute and exactly what I was thinking of for the outside on the balcony. It's really just a relaxing area for the fairy and her friends, or whoever lives with her. I don't know. I feel like she lives by herself, but there is an extra side of the bed. There's a double bed, so she could have a significant other. You never know. Or, there's room for one if she ends up meeting one. But yeah, I ended up adding a couple of rocking chairs, and I chose the white rocking chair, and each of the seat covers, I chose a different color. I think I chose like blue and pink, or blue and purple, or blue and green. I can't remember, but just sticking with the same colors that we have going on with the rest of the build. But now I am actually decorating the area that's below the house, and I do have some terrain manipulation going on. I'm not very good at it, but I do like to play around with it sometimes, especially if I'm doing like a super like landscaped and overgrown build like this one. I do like to do a little bit of terrain manipulation. I have the pond over in the corner, obviously, and then I also have like the tree. I have it up a little bit, and I thought that looked super cute, and it makes it look more natural. And so yeah, I like to play around with it sometimes. Everything does work under here, by the way. I did a lot of play testing while I was building it, and a little bit afterwards as well. So we have her flower arranging table, and we also have some like of the vertical planters. And I figured that was the planters that she uses for like her food supply and stuff, and maybe some flowers, but she also has some regular like ground level flower pots as well. I also end up putting like a table and 2 chairs under there, as well as like a little hangout area to sit at while she's doing her gardening. And I also put like a picnic basket on the ground next to the table, and then a radio. So just like a little hangout area. Right now I am pulling out a bunch of like the string lights from Businesses and Hobbies debug catalog. I absolutely love these guys. Like, I was so ecstatic to see that these came in the debug catalog. There's a lot that does not work, but these regular string lights, well, those are from the toddler stuff pack. We've had those, but the ones from Businesses and Hobbies, just the normal string lights, they don't have like a stick on one side like the toddler stuff pack version does. So that makes it so useful to actually customize it and be able to place it anywhere you want without that random stick being somewhere. Like, typically the toddler stuff, I always have to plan ahead and either just make it look like it's meant to be there and that stick's meant to be there. And then the other side, you can either place the stick, or you could just place it on a tree to make it look like the tree's holding it. Or I place the stick inside of like a column. But in this case, it just makes it so much easier because you could free place it any way you like and really customize it. And so I like to put it on like a house on one side, and then the other side's attached to like the tree. And that is what I did here. I thought it looked so cute. And I also grabbed, there's another one in the Businesses and Hobbies catalog that is like 5 or 6 of them all like bunched together, and I've been dying, guys, to use that somewhere, and I've had the hardest time figuring out where and how to use it. But I finally was able to use it in this build, and I placed it up on top of like the oak tree where the main house is, and it's kind of above the main house, and I think it looks so cute. And then I have the one that's over the front area where you first walk in under the green viney archway that I have there to enter the whole property. And then I have some over in the back corner where I end up placing a fireplace, and then I have some under the house in the little hangout area. So this house is like filled with fairy lights, and I love it. It's like everything I've ever dreamt of. I love fairy lights in real life and The Sims. I can't get enough of them. I probably overuse them, but I don't care. I think it's so cute. But we are now over in that little corner that I have put off until the last possible minute, to be honest. I have struggled to think about what I wanted to do here, and ultimately I end up just adding that like fire pit sort of thing. I think I add the one from Outdoor Retreat if I'm not mistaken, and then I just place random chairs all around it. I really want it to look like the fairy either built these chairs or just have picked them up from a dumpster or the side of the road whenever she comes across them. And so they're just really random miscellaneous chairs. And like I said, I struggled to really think about what to put there. I was gonna put some more like garden plots there. I really wanted to do the ones that are in the ground, but there's just not enough space. So the one bad thing about the lot in Sylvan Glade is how small it is. I think it's just like a 20 by 15. And I have so much landscaping packed in that it really didn't leave a whole lot of space to put items, you know? So yeah, I ended up just doing the fire pit, and it's just like a little hangout area. And I think you can grill like hot dogs and stuff like that. Our fairy, she's a vegetarian though. She doesn't do hot dogs, so she could do s'mores. That is right up her alley. But yeah, so just a regular fireplace slash fire pit. I called it a fireplace earlier. And going back editing, I was like, oh, I said fireplace. Oh well, I'm gonna put fire pit later. So yeah, it's a fire pit, not a fireplace. And yeah, oh, and I also have a woohoo bush in here. Like, you can't go wrong with a random woohoo bush. That's like a must-have, especially in like a super naturey build like this. And yeah, so I'm doing some last minute terrain paint and really trying to bring the build together. And I am going to just say this: if you are building especially like a super landscape build like this and you feel like it just is missing something, it's most likely landscaping, or not landscape, it's most likely terrain paint. And once you place terrain paint, it brings it all together. So definitely don't give up until you add the terrain paint. And if you add like a layer and it's not enough, just keep adding layers until you like it. That's what I did here anyways. And I almost used the terrain paint, like the pathway terrain paint from Cottage Living, that's like stone with like pink flowers in between it. I have wanted to use it for so long, but I can never it just doesn't look right. There's something about it that looks off to me, and I thought this was gonna be the build where I was finally gonna be able to use it, but no, I was sorely mistaken. And if it doesn't work here, then it just doesn't work anywhere. Let me know down below how you guys feel about that awful terrain paint from Cottage Living. Have you ever been able to use it, or are you like me and you're like you like it, but there's something about it that's like off, so you don't like it? But anyways, guys, honestly, we are coming up on the end of the build and there's really nothing else to say about it. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Of course, if you did, please leave a like. It helps the algorithm kick it to other simmers, and also it lets me know that you did enjoy it and you're looking forward to other builds similar to this. So also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And yeah, so with all of that being said, I hope you all have an amazing weekend, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.